What's going on, guys? How you doing? TK coming at you. I had an interesting conversation with a business partner about the complacency of the average person and just how people are dependent on the nanny state to create a future. And people's complacency in the nanny state, being able to provide them with everything they need, is one thing. It can be looked at as laziness, but my problem with the nanny state and being dependent on the government to give you everything is that the government doesn't have your best interest in mind. I mean, it just makes more financial sense to take control of your future and make some decisions that give you time freedom and more openness, you know, than whatever level that you're at right now. So if you actively invest or you actively participate in something that puts money back into your pocket, or you spend money on things that make money, then that's moving away from the nanny state. And that's a decision that very few people do. So the conversation I had with my business partner or just a fellow investor was, how do you get people's mind to even open to the concept of there's an alternative? Because truly people operate and exist out of fear. And the first thing that someone does when they are exposed to something they're not familiar with is close the door. Oh, I don't know about that, so I'm scared, I'm gonna close the door. As opposed to saying, I don't know about it and I wanna learn. So closed minds don't get fed and closed wallets don't get paid. And that's the scenario that a lot of people exist in. And that's why we say the matrix, you're a slave to a rat race because you're not willing to do something different. So the key that we have to find is, how do you take someone out of fear and get them to the point where they're even willing to open to the possibility of doing something different? And of course, that's a very hard thing. And that's something that most of us don't graduate to. I mean, if you find a way to hold someone's hand through the process of fear and then challenge their mindset to the point where they are willing to learn an alternative way to put money in their house, then you've mastered a way to help 1,000 or 1,000,000 or God knows how many people. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't found that key. It takes a lot of patience to be able to hold someone's hand through fear and challenge their mindset to the point where they are willing to learn something new. When you step out of the current paradigm and you accept change, then you open the door to expanding your horizons. So my challenge in educational videos when it comes to finance is, how do I help people through the transition of this paradigm shift? If you think about the old methods, they don't necessarily work. And the teaching methods aren't propagated in terms of how to get anyone into profit, no matter what level you're at. So if you're McDonald's, I have to find a way to get you into profit. And if you're a corporate executive at 6 figures, I have to find a way to get you into profit. And that's not something easily achieved because of everyone's learning curve and because of fear preventing you from even stepping out of the mental prison that you carry with you. So mastering the transition process is kind of what this conversation is about. And how do you even get someone to open their mind to a new paradigm? Because the factual side of a paradigm shift is, it doesn't matter whether you accept it. People didn't accept credit cards in 1950 when Diners Card came out, the narrative was that's not real money. And today, if you was one of those people in 1950 that didn't believe in Diners Card, there is an integrated part of financial world where credit is a part of it. So my point is, you accepting a shift has nothing to do with whether or not the shift happens. Usually what it means is you react to the paradigm shift once you're forced to. But the topic of this conversation is you don't have to wait until there's a gun to your head telling you that things have changed. You can be proactive and get out of the nanny state, make some decisions for yourself so that you can position a better financial future. Now think about a wide range of assets, and whether or not you have those assets determines if you have the ability to comfortably live in this pay to exist world. You know, a long time ago, money was invented to be able to enslave the people on the planet, because this is probably the only planet where you have to pay for every aspect of your life. I think the only thing we're not charged for is air. And because you can't see air, some people debate whether or not it even exists. So that's probably the reason why we're not charged for it. But why is it that we're in a pay-to-live world? There's enough abundance on the planet where everyone could have as much as they wanted or needed if there wasn't a such thing as greed and hoarding and evil hearts. So paying for access to what is in abundance on the planet shouldn't be a factor. But it is. So if you don't focus on making smart decisions that allow you to have better access, then you become limited in your existence. And that's what, 80% of the planet, right? The poor, the unbanked, the people in society who lack knowledge, who don't have access, the people who fall victim to engineered scarcity. So within this pyramidal system of fiat, the money stays at the top. There is no circulation. There's no such thing as trickle down. So my only point is, if you take control of your future by making some smart decisions to create a better tomorrow, then instead of depending on somebody giving you something, you actually take control of your future by making effective planning that produce strong results. So I look at it in a small example being the military. I spent 11 years on active duty. And everybody is in the mindset of nanny state when it comes to active duty. I'm waiting 20 years on that check. And I've always said that I don't need to wait on a check. I'm going to define a check for myself through my entrepreneurial spirit, because it's more sound to develop a plan and create success than it is to wait on someone else to give you. And that's the bootstrap mentality of the 1950s that don't really exist anymore. Society has been coddled, and we live in a microwave, I want right now frame of thinking, where that bootstrap mentality exists in few. That has been eroded from society. You know, back in the day, your grandfather said it took 20% to buy a house, so I'm going to work harder and save $20,000 so that I can have the down payment. Today, people just go into debt when the process hasn't changed. It's just the easier road. But the easier road always leads to what? You give up in order to get. And there's carrot strings. So I'm gonna keep this video short. Definitely want to just get you guys to start thinking, open your mind to making better decisions, and realize that the economy has shifted. Understand that right now we're at the point where the financial cliff is not a conspiracy theory. People talk to me like if I hate cash. What I'm telling you is that cash is a dying dinosaur, and there are other options. Explore those options and begin to make some different decisions so that you can have a different future. Last thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to close the video with this, is a lot of people feel as if when you use profanity, you are being unprofessional. Now, it's not due to my lack of vocabulary or inability to explain something without using graphic words, but I try to use graphic words as a statement. So I'm not cussing at you. I'm defining a graphic situation by using a graphic word. And of course, professionalism comes with, oh, don't cuss. And people always get offended because, Twinkies and their emotions are on their sleeves, when me cussing is saying that this is serious. This is important. So, damn is how I use it. And inference and tone is very important within the context of the English language. So understand that about my video marketing. When you see me cuss, or when you see me make statements, it's more about defining the accuracy of a point that I'm trying to make, not about being unprofessional. But hey, to each his own. I wish you guys the best. Hopefully you guys open your mind and then open your wallet.